Welcome to Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by area realtor Jim York and York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information about the local real estate market, featuring leading experts in the real estate field.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update. Today with our host Jim York and his guest Dwight Brock, Collier County Clerk of Courts.
Thank you, Michael, for the introduction. Well, we're here today with Mr. Brock, the Collier County Clerk of the Courts, and I wanted to have you on the show today because I know it's a political year, you're running for re-election, and I wanted to explain to our viewers what you've really done for us here in the county and the residents, and what your job description is and your background, because you've been a real supporter of our community in the real estate world. And so let's just start first with your background.
My background is that I started out my professional career as a prosecutor with an accounting background. And I worked with the state attorney's office right out of law school, began in 1982. I prosecuted here for a little over 10 years, almost 11 years. And during that period of time, for about the last 6 or 7 of those years, I was the economic crime prosecutor in the 20th Judicial Circuit, which comprises 5 separate counties: Collier, Hendry, Glades, Lee, and one other one, Collier, Hendry, Glades, Lee, and Charlotte County. So during that period of time, what I dealt with was financial records. Prosecuting cases dealing with financial records. In 1992, late 92, I decided that I would run for the clerk of the circuit court, and I was elected, and I have been the clerk of the circuit court now for a little more than 23 years. When I took over the office in the clerk's office, everything in there was paper.
That's right.
There wasn't a thing in the world, basically, that wasn't done through paper. During the period in time that I'm there, we have essentially eliminated paper. We don't have paper regarding our official records, the deeds, the mortgages, and things of that nature that most of the people that deal with real estate use. That's all electronic now. You can actually record your documents. Everybody can record their documents without having to come to the courthouse. All you have to do is set up the process, create an escrow account, and you can record your documents that way. The process allows all individuals to do the official records searches and checks from their home. You don't have to come to the courthouse to do it. There are some tools associated with our official records section. For example, you want to know how many deeds are being recorded? You can go into the system and put a time frame and check how many deeds have been recorded. Most people don't understand that, but that tool is there. And that is a very valuable tool, if people think about it, to begin determining what's going on in the marketplace. All of those types of things. One of the things that we're exploring today that, I have not decided whether I'm going to purchase it, but one of the things that we're looking at is actual process by which people would get notified if somebody records a transfer of their property. Okay. The vendor that I'm looking at would get people to sign up, and if something is in fact transferred, then at that point in time they would immediately get a notification. So I'm exploring what the benefit of that would be to the general public and to the real estate and the attorneys, and to make a determination of the cost benefit of that from the standpoint of the clerks putting that process in. We don't have a lot of problems with people recording stuff.
Right.
I think people understand that, it's probably not going to be a good thing for somebody to tinker with our records, but some places do have that. But we're looking at that as a possibility. Other than that now, let's look at the courts. It used to be all of the court cases were all paper. You brought the paper in and you filed it, and we put it in a folder and kept it there, and everything that came in went in on top. Today, that's all electronic. You actually file the pleadings through a portal in Tallahassee that then sends them to us. We then put them into an electronic file, and we don't ever have to touch those documents again. We look at it through a computer. We don't even take the files to the courtroom. The judges look at them through the computer. It's all computer. We have a lot of information that comes into us from other agencies, such as the Sheriff's Department. When I took over, that was all handled by paper, and it was footed across the parking lot.
Right.
None of that is done that way today. That is all done electronically. The Sheriff's Department has been great to work with. All of the stuff with the supervisor of elections, all of the stuff with the property appraiser, that all goes through electronically, and we essentially have no paper in our office. It's fully electronic. We don't have to store the paper. We don't have the paper. It's electronic. One of the things that is my objective is, since it is electronic, create the security.
That's right.
And then put it out there for all the public to see. You do two things. Think about this for a moment. The first thing is I make it more convenient for you. Mm-hmm. You don't have to come to the courthouse as a realtor, as an attorney, as a private individual. And you also make it cheaper for me, which benefits you also as a taxpayer. If you don't have to pay somebody to go through paper and get that stuff for you, we've just saved money. To give you an example of how we have lived over the last about 5 years with the huge reductions in our budget that has taken place, I have gone from about 280 employees in 1995 to a little over 170 employees now.
Wow.
My budget is about half of what it used to be. And, we've saved the taxpayer money and we've survived. Truth of the matter is, if we had not have been on the cutting edge of the technology and had the technology in place, we would not be able to provide the services we provide today. We are recognized by the Court Technology Committee, and Laird Lyle, who's actually on the Court Board of Governors appointment to the Court Technology Committee, as one of the best computer systems in the state. Our judges use our computer system. We have put into effect the things that our judges want to see. So it's been very beneficial to everybody in this process.
Well, Mr. Brock, let's take a little bit short break, and then I wanted to come back and talk about what is on your website there, because we touched a little bit on it, but I'd like to elaborate a little bit more on that. We'll be back in 1 minute. Thank you.
Thinking of buying or selling a home in Naples, Marco, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Think of the most experienced York Real Estate Group associated with the #1 brokerage in Naples, Downing Fry Realty, which produced $1.9 billion in sales in 2014, controlling 43% of all transactions in Naples. Jim, Michael, and Morgan York make up the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty. With over $250 million in sales transactions, they can offer you the expertise and trust you want and need in a realtor. Call them today at 239-273-6727 or visit their website, www.naplesyorkrealestate.com.
Welcome back. Mr. Brock, let's continue this conversation and talk about what people can get from your website, because I know when I teach my real estate classes, it's something that they're hard to believe that they can get all this information, and it's public information. So maybe you could just elaborate on that a little bit.
Sure. For example, I have people, and I think the course you teach is relating to foreclosures.
That's right.
You can actually go into my system and see the foreclosure judgments.
That's right.
Okay, we have it set up so that you can determine when all of those are being sold. You can determine their status, maybe not real time because we may not know it, but it is as real time as we can get it. And all of the information. You can use the name, you can use the physical address, you can use the legal description, you can go to the supervisor, or not the supervisor, but the property appraiser's website and identify the legal description to the street address and the owner.
That's right.
Through that process. We have instructions how to go through the tax deed process, how to go through the foreclosure process, how to go through the court processes to a certain degree. We have all of the deeds are right there for you to see, and it has search capability. For example, you can go in and put, let's say from
There's a
June
calendar,
1st
right.
to July 1st.
That's right.
Okay, you can determine how many particular types of documents have been recorded during that period of time.
That's right.
And then you can compare that to the month before, and you can see what's going on in terms of the marketplace. It may not be perfect because there may be a lag time between the period in which the transaction took place and when it gets recorded.
Right.
But that lag time is going to be essentially the same from month to month, so it really doesn't make any difference. Last month's going to have the same lag that this month has.
Right.
So, it's a good indicator of what's going on. You can just look up so much information about real property. You can look up platted areas. You can look up marriage license.
Mortgages.
You can look up anything that affects the title or an interest in real property that has been recorded in the official record. Most people don't realize this, but, recording documents in the official records has one purpose and one purpose only. And that purpose is to provide notice to the rest of the world of the existence of that document. So if you put it in there, whether the person knows about it or not, it's presumed that they do know about it.
That's right.
So that has the protection of law by virtue of that notice, that the person that is messing with your property knows that you own it.
Yep.
Those are the types of things. In addition to the court system, or in addition to the official record system, the court system, you can actually see the pleadings in most cases. There are some cases that the legislature has made confidential that you can't see, but most of the cases you can actually see what was the initiating document or the complaint, what the answer was, anything that's been filed in that case. So you can just go through and determine everything that transpired right down to the judgment.
Right.
So everything is there for you to see. It's searchable by name, searchable by case number. So, there's a wealth of information that you can get out of that. In addition to that, we're working on the process of making all of the information with regard to the expenditure of taxpayers' money available on the internet. We believe that the public needs to know what it is that their commissioners are spending their money on.
Right.
I think the public, if they had an opportunity to see what it was they were spending their money on, that they would take a different view of what's going on. And I think that's going to be important to get that information out there to them. And that's one of the major processes that we're working on right now, is to identify the process by which we can get that information out there to the public with the greatest amount of understanding.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
On this piece of paper there, maybe this is something you pulled off the website, right?
It's a report that we run every month.
Uh-huh.
It's not on the website,
Right,
but now I
yeah.
have had about 4 people that have asked me to put this on the website, so we're in the process of putting this on the
But
website.
that information comes from your website.
It comes from the
Deeds, right?
deeds,
Right.
official records, right? I mean, it tells me the number of pages recorded in a particular month, number of documents recorded, number of court records. All of our court records now are recorded electronically.
Right.
External customers that use the e-recording and total e-record. One of the things that we've noticed is that we've had the e-recording out there now for a little while, and the people using that are increasing daily because it is so easy to use.
Right.
Right. So we want to see more of that. That saves, again, both you and me
Oh, yeah, and people running down there, they can
time
just
and effort and the
Right.
taxpayer money. So we want to see more of that happening.
In 1992, how many offices did you have in Collier County?
1.
Right, and maybe you could just talk about some of the conveniences
Sure.
for people now,
I mean,
where
we-
they can go.
In 92, the only office was at the courthouse.
That's what I said.
Yep. And we began expanding those offices. We had one out in Golden Gate. We had one at Green Tree. We have one at Immokalee. We have one in Everglades,
Orange Blossom.
Orange Blossom. And we had more than that. We actually had one out on Marco Island. We had one way out in the estates. We had one up in the north end of town. Everywhere the tax collector.
Right.
You remember Guy Carlton?
That's right, yeah.
Every place that Guy Carlton had an office, Guy provided me a place to put an employee. And I did that. Back when I was fighting with the Board of County Commissioners over whether the auditor could audit, the Board of County Commissioners cut my budget, and it's not come back. And as a consequence of that, I had to close some of those offices to deal with the budget constraints. So we have eliminated some of them, but I still have 4 or 5 outlying offices.
That's right.
Immokalee, Orange Blossom, Golden Gate, and there's one more, isn't there? Oh, Everglades.
Everglades.
Right. So, you know, we have, the Everglades is actually, the employee there is an employee of the tax collector's office. I pay part of her salary, and she does things for me as well, and she also is the librarian there.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
I mean, you have to work with everybody.
Oh,
You know, most people don't understand that I'm both the financial officer for the Board of County Commissioners and the supervisor of elections. I do the same thing for the supervisor of elections that I do for the Board of County Commissioners. But I never have any problems with the supervisor of elections. All of my problems are with the Board of County Commissioners.
Let's also talk about your outreach program that you do.
I believe that the general public should have the ability to use the court system. Okay? And as a consequence of that, I have an outreach lecture program. I go out to the community, to the libraries, and I actually invite people to come in, and I teach them how to file their own cases in small claims, tenant eviction, and in addition to that, how to use the computer system. And we teach those 4 or 5 times a year. We try to teach them when most of the people are here.
That's right.
But one of the things that we are going to do this coming year is we're going to expand the scope of that lecture circuit to include both tax deeds, foreclosures, and what was the other one? Traffic court. Okay? So that people have more of an understanding and insight as to what they're getting into when they go into those processes. You know, a lot of people don't realize that you walk into a sale of a foreclosed property.
Right.
You're buying that with all liens and encumbrances still in existence that had not been extinguished by the court.
Right.
So, you know, that's a very risky business. A tax deed now, on the other hand, is not so risky. The only lien that'll survive in that is a government lien of record. So, you know, that one's a relatively safe process, but the other one's very risky. I mean, I've had some people that, you know, have ended up in trouble and they didn't know what they were doing, because when you bid, I'm going to take a deposit from you.
That's right.
That deposit is non-refundable. That's the way the law directs me to do it. And if you don't come back the next morning, you've just lost what you deposited. So, you know, I don't want my constituents to be caught by that. I want them to understand what they're stepping into. I want them to understand and know that that potential is there. They need, in all likelihood, help and assistance in navigating that process. So those are the types of things we are going to expand them. And I was talking to one of the county judges the other day who suggested that he would like to be involved with me in my outreach program to do traffic court, so that people understood how to do traffic court.
Right.
What things are going on in traffic court, what you need to look for, what you're entitled to. You know, one of the things that's very infuriating to me is I see people coming in there every day that's paying an attorney probably a couple of $100
Right.
to go into traffic court or go into my office and enter a plea and pay the traffic fine, and the individual could come in there and do that and get the same thing without having to pay that attorney. People ought to know that. They ought to be aware of that. And you know, just annoys me that, in my opinion, they take advantage of people's ignorance. So I want to try to enlighten them.
Right. Well, Mr. Brock, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, thank
And
you.
I just want to commend you that I think you're doing a wonderful job, and don't see any reason for any kind of a change in our clerk. So again, I want to thank you for our support that you've given the realtors in our community and residents, and thank you for coming on the show.
Well, I thank you very much. It's been
Thank
very
you.
nice. I enjoy working with you.
Thank you.